Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people, and a lady that everybody seems to love. She shot to fame after a career in dance on Strictly Come Dancing, and she's back in 2018 with a brand new tour called Dance to the Music, touring the UK through the spring into the summer. And I'm delighted to say that Kristina Rihanoff is on the phone now. How are you doing?
Hello, Alex. I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me.
It must be marvellous to be you. A, you're delicious. B, you've got talent. And C, you're successful. It's the mother load, really, isn't it?
Well, do you know what? I think you do shape your success. You have to work hard. There is no sort of shortcuts to it. And I love my craft, so I dedicated all my life to it. So
I started by saying that. I mean, the great thing about all you guys on Strictly is you can't fake it. To be the pro, you have to have done it your entire life. And it's nothing that comes easy. It's literally blood, sweat and tears, isn't it?
It's absolutely true, because when we started, at least my generation of dancers, nothing like Strictly Come Dancing or any other TV shows existed. And we did what we thought would be just best for us, for our careers, and we just did it for the love of dance. There was no sort of big bonuses to be professional dancers at all. And, we worked hard, and every single penny we ever had, we put back to our dance lessons and travels to competitions, doing our own costumes. I used to sew my costumes all night long before competitions. So, do you know what? It was just a dedication to your craft and a love for dancing.
And you've literally done it all over the world. When I look at your CV, there aren't many places you haven't worked. I guess you've spent much of your life in airports.
Yes, that's true. If I can remember my 20s, it was definitely just airports and hotels. So from one continent to the other.
Talk to me about the package of being a world-class dancer. I mean, it seems to me, I'm a deeply unattractive man, Kristina. You can't be wolf ugly and get away with it. You've got to sort of have a package, haven't you? You've got to have talent matched with a look and also a confidence.
Do you know what? All of those things, I think, are very, subjective, to be honest. Of course you have to have talent. But, a lot of talented people along the way I've seen in my life, they just never made it just because they actually only relied on their talent. Yes, you have to have some sort of talent, I suppose, for being a dancer or like anything in performing arts. But at the end of the day, it's the hard work what counts. How much you really willing to put in and go extra mile, rehearse extra hour and stuff like that. And a lot of talented people will come easy to them, or let's say talented kids, because I was among those, when I was a child and in my dance school, there was a lot of much more talented kids than me, but they just thought, well, we're talented, we don't need to work too hard. And, they never really made it that far. So I think as far as talent goes, yes, you have to have a thing for it, but you have to work hard. And luck and opportunities, they do come along, but not everybody also kind of happy to take them, let's say, and you do have to sacrifice a lot in your life to actually make it to the top in our professional business.
It seems to me finally you're at a place where you've got a lovely home life, you've got the perfect partner, you've got the perfect child, you've got the perfect career. To get all that synergy is really tricky, and you seem to have mastered that. Congratulations.
Do you know what? It's true, because now again, any professional sport, and obviously dancing is a professional sport, a lot of things like family and kids kind of come secondary, because it's a big decision to take. Everybody think, okay, I'll do it later. And sometimes it comes to the point when it's too late and people can't do all of the above and maybe have children and so on. It is quite normal, actually, in sort of our professional dancing to have families much later, because people want to compete and do as much as they can while they're young, and sort of like in late 30s they have families. And for me it happened when, I guess, like emotionally and psychologically I was ready for it. I wasn't Strictly for 8 years. It was becoming quite it was difficult, because you do it doesn't matter how great the job is, anything you do for 8 years in a row becomes kind of boring and difficult. It's the same thing over and over. It's 9 months out of your life every year dedicated to the show and the live tour. You can't do anything else outside of Strictly, really. And I was ready to go. I was actually planning a big UK tour back then, already with Robin Windsor, and we were all kind of already lined up to go into theatres, and I was ready to leave Strictly for that, for the show, to create a show with Robin and go around the around the UK. But then, got pregnant, and, obviously life took a completely different turn, that I'm so happy about. But I think psychologically, like I said, in my head, I was ready for change, and that's what happened. Somewhere in there in the universe, it was already decided for me that change is coming, and that will happen really in the end of the day.
That's beautiful. I wonder as well the pressure on you. I've had this conversation with West End leading ladies in the past, that to take time out, whether it be 9 months or 2 years, to bring up a baby is tough. Was there a point where you had to make that decision? Am I going to be a mum, or am I going to continue my career? It is a difficult decision, one that men don't actually have to make, because 3 weeks later we can go back and carry on, can't?
Yeah, it's absolutely true, and it is hard. And those who are sort of in performing arts and show business, it is difficult, and especially as a dancer, that's we're talking about. Our bodies is our tool. That's what we do. We basic. This is our work and livelihood. And after having Mila, I never actually thought I would get back to dancing at that capacity and this level. I just, my body shape changed so much. I gained weight. My whole sort of stamina was completely out of the door, and I just did not think that my body will be capable of doing anything like that again at that sort of level and intensity as pre-pregnancy. And I did take quite a long time off. I wanted to be a mom because, in dance business, we are sort of a little bit selfish, not in a bad way, but kind of in a good way, saying that it is about shaping our career, basically competing, putting everything into, we're not thinking about to buy a house or to buy, a car. We're thinking, okay, let's get some money so we can go to this world champion for more lessons and win that competition and buy that sort of dress to perform in. It is so much all about dancing, that at some point you sort of step back and you actually feel like you're missing in life on having a home and having a family. And I grew up in Russia. Russia is quite still, very old-fashioned in many ways, and those kind of orthodox sort of beliefs in women and the family and so on. It's still in me, and I always knew I wanted a family, and I always wanted to be a mom. It just happened much later in my life that, any of my friends thought it would be, but yeah, it's a big decision. And, all the dancing kind of opportunities with the show into came a bit later, which was good. So I wasn't really pushing myself too hard to lose weight right away to go back on TV, nor I would want to, because I actually thought it's really slow. I took it really slowly. I wanted to be healthy during my breastfeeding. I wanted to be a good mom. I wanted to be at home as much as possible. But of course, I'm I'm a performer in my heart. I love that. I'm a creative person. I always wanted to create a show which will be loved by different generations and families, and that sort of burning fire is in me. I love to create, and I love to choreograph. So of course it was still in the back of my mind that I still would want to come back, but do things my way, be my own boss and create something which I really would love to do and believe in.
I love that you're your own entrepreneur as well as your own creative. That's a great mix. Stars to the Music is touring the UK. It's starring Robin Windsor, as we mentioned. Before we move on, let's just very finally touch on your private life with your partner, Ben Cohen, who I've interviewed many times. Why did you choose him? I mean, he's so unattractive. He's so average.
Terrible, isn't it?
Nobody else would have fancied him. Did you feel sorry for him?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Does it ever become normal when you wake up next to someone in the morning who's a pin-up that everybody else seems to fancy, both men and women?
Yeah, well, do you know what? Besides all of that, besides the way he looks, he's a great, great dad. He's absolutely incredible father. And, we have a lot in common. A love for charity work, a love for family and kids. And, he's just fantastic. And actually, a show like this and tour like this would never happen without his support, because it is difficult on family dynamic. I'm away, pretty much for 2 months, even though I come back every other day. It's still very difficult. But, he believed in me. He believed in my vision of creating a show, and he's so supportive. You can't just wish for a better partner in life, really, because he's, looking after the kids, and he is absolutely a fantastic dad.
And I guess without him, Dance to the Music couldn't have happened, because you can't have the baby on stage with you, can you?
No, exactly. I mean, him and his mom, actually, and all his family, they also are very supportive, and they obviously all help. And yeah, like I said, again, it would never happen, and I would never do something like that just without family support, because it's obviously a decision which we had to make together, as a couple, if this is something we can do and manage, because it's hard life, it's very hard to be touring for so long, but the upside of this, that you can actually take a lot of time off afterwards and be home.
Beautiful. And of course, as we say, this is the magic mix of happiness at home and on stage. This show's had incredible reviews, starring Robin Windsor, and of course Chris Maloney, who sings the show through as well. These shows have never been more popular, and I've noticed there's never been more of them on the road. They seem to be the biggest thing in showbiz right now. People want to see you Strictly Dancers do what you do amidst these huge productions. It's beautiful timing, isn't it?
Yes, it is a great timing. I think it's a love for that sort of good old entertainment, at its best, when you can see the dancing, the singing together, interaction on stage. People love that. I love live theatre. That was always my dream, to do that and do theatre work. And the thing is, the show I've created was always in the back of my mind. I wanted to create a show for all generations to enjoy. Because let's face it, Latin and ballroom dancing, of course, is great and loved by a lot of people. But the young ones, they still don't understand that. They're not really into it. They love the hip hop, the street dancing, the tap, and all of that. So when I thought of the show, I thought, well, what can I do to bring everyone together so the whole family can come and enjoy the show? And that's how idea of evolution of dance from 1920s to present day came to my mind. So we go through every decade with the biggest hits of each time and show how music impacted dance and dance crazes. So we start with Charleston's in 20s and foxtrots, and going into tap and Lindy Hop and swing, and then twist in 60s and 70s with this disco era, and the 80s with hip hop and break dancing, and 90s and all this kind of new millennium songs, with all the kind of club hits. But it's basically everything from Frank Sinatra to Ed Sheeran in my show.
Nice.
And you know what? Every night we have meet and greet, and I see families with young kids and teenagers and grandparents there, and saying, "Oh, we all love the show," and everybody loved different decade and different era, and that's what makes me so happy, just to see that the show is appealing to everybody. And it was never about me. It wasn't just me, and it's my show. It's about creating a show for everybody else,
It's a tough gig, from Stevenage to Whitley Bay to Livingston to Ayr to Chesterfield. I mean, this is a tremendous regime of shows. How physically demanding is it to do the 90 minutes on stage compared with the physicality of getting there in the first place?
Well, all of this is quite difficult. Of course, most of the team, to be honest, they stay in the hotels and they drive from venue to venue, and they have a bit of time to rest. Obviously, I choose to go home and drive a lot because I just want to see my family, see Mila in the morning and see Ben, obviously. So I make that sacrifice, but it's all worth it. I'd rather drive and be home, in a couple of hours. But still sometimes it's impossible and I go away. So it is like those things are never easy to drive and go up and down the country. But the pleasure you get from being on that stage and see people, standing at the end of the show, singing along, dancing along, saying how wonderful the show is, that it gave them something to reminisce about, to remember the young days, and to sort of have all of that. It just, it's so special. It really is special. And, I guess as a performer and creative person, it's all you can wish for. There is no more there is nothing else I can wish for, just that rapport with my audience. So, do you know what? In the end of the day, it makes me happy that I've created something like that. But there is a lot of Strictly Dancers on the road, like you said, and we're all in different, obviously, parts of the country and so on. But I think that's the beauty of that, because people can see us up close and personal and can maybe communicate with us, ask us questions, what they want to know about the show and so on. We sort of out there, and we're happy to meet our fans, and that's the beauty of it.
To be honest, I think you guys are to dance what Il Divo, Russell Watson and people like Alfie Boe are to classical music. You're bringing it to the masses and to young people, and for that you've got to be heralded, because people need to see this stuff, and it has brought it to a whole new audience and it's made it cool. That's a brilliant thing, isn't it, for the art form?
Yeah, well, of course. course, because like I said, the young ones, they need to be involved. They need to understand. We obviously have amazing, for example, tap number done to Putting on the Ritz, which is a 40s classic. And when the kids are watching, they're so into tap now, but they hear an old song, but they don't even realize it's such an old song. For them, it's a new one because it's sang by Robbie Williams. So it's great to sort of have that in a mixture. It's a little bit of education in a way as well for the young ones when they come and watch the show.
Everybody wins. So you're going to be Livingston, Ayr, Chesterfield. I'm going to come and see you in Newark, by the way. Looking forward to that on the 18th.
Oh, fantastic.
Of course. Can't wait. I'll come and see you afterwards. Middlesbrough, Lincoln, London, Barrow, Furness, Workington. Basically, there's a ton of dates. You can find them by simply putting in Dance to the Music UK Tour. Kristina, it's so nice to talk to you. I believe the more talented you are, the more disciplined you have to be, and you've proved that your entire life. Congratulations on the baby and your happiness, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Alex. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.